Hello, welcome to our summer STEAM camp. My name is Miss Adrienne, and this program that we're going to do today is appropriate, or is going to be appropriate for children in 2nd and 3rd grade. Of course, all are welcome to join and participate. So our activity today, which was designed by the Bay Area Discovery Museum, is going to be making a latch for the 3 bears. Now, if you remember the story of Goldilocks and the 3 bears, Goldilocks just waltzes right into their house. So we're going to retell that story and think about, while we're retelling it, ways that the 3 bears could have been a little bit more proactive in protecting their property. So I hope that you enjoy our program today. Before we get started, I just want to remind you that we are just beginning our summer learning program, which we have every year. This year, you can go to summerlearners.org to sign up. So don't forget to sign up, and you can be entered to win a $1,000 scholarship. One lucky winner will win that scholarship, as they do every year. So don't forget to participate. All right, well, let's get started by reading The 3 Bears. I'm going to read a version by Tony Ross, who I really love. He's a picture book author and illustrator. So I'm going to share my screen so that you can see the story. And then we're going to go into our engineering design process. So I hope you enjoy it. Let me share my screen so you can see the storybook. Okay, so this is Goldilocks and the 3 Bears by Tony Ross. This particular version, as we know, Goldilocks and the 3 Bears is a fairy tale, but this particular version is retold and illustrated by Tony Ross and published by Anderson Press. Once upon a time, not so very long ago, and not so very far away, there were 3 bears. There was a father bear who was huge and gruff. There was a mother bear who was middle-sized and knew where the bandages and plasters were kept. And there was a little bitty baby bear who was always getting into trouble and lost and getting his knees scratched. The 3 bears lived together in a house which stood in a forest clearing. They liked living there. Life was good for the 3 bears. It was peaceful, and not much happened until the dreadful day when Goldilocks got lost in the forest. She was playing as usual, but this time her games took her deeper and deeper amongst the trees. "Look out, Goldilocks," warned the rabbits, "you'll get lost." But she took no notice. Goldilocks didn't understand the rabbit's squeaks anyway. As the sky grew dark, Goldilocks began to feel hungry and a little frightened. She stumbled round in circles looking for the path home. Then she saw the 3 bears' house. Cautiously she rang the doorbell, but no one answered, so she gave the door a push. It swung open. "Hello," she called, but there was no reply. Goldilocks was a rather nosy little girl, so she stepped into the hall and peeped round a door into a lighted room. It was a dining room. In the middle was a table set with 3 bowls filled with porridge. She took a spoon and dipped it into the largest bowl. Yuck! Goldilocks dropped the spoon. The porridge was so hot. Wagging her tongue to cool it down, Goldilocks pushed her spoon into the middle-sized bowl and took a mouthful of porridge. Yeah! The porridge in the middle-sized bowl was even worse. It was stone cold. "Who can live here," thought Goldilocks, "and eat such horrid porridge?" Goldilocks dipped her spoon into the smallest bowl, expecting it to be as awful as the other 2. But it was just right. It was lovely. So she took another spoonful and another, and in no time the smallest bowl was empty. Goldilocks felt much better now, so she set off to explore the house. Next door she found the sitting room. "What a good idea," thought Goldilocks. "I'll have a little rest." She flopped down in the largest armchair, but it wasn't very comfortable because it was so big. Goldilocks could only just reach the arms. She wriggled about for a bit and then decided to try another chair. Climbing into the middle-sized armchair, Goldilocks first sat this way, then that way, but she couldn't get away from a big lump in the cushion. "I wouldn't want to live here," thought Goldilocks. "The chairs are as bad as the food." Climbing off the middle-sized chair, she looked around the sitting room. There was another chair, a little bitsy chair. Goldilocks sat down. It was just right. Feeling pleasantly full and rather sleepy, she settled back for a snooze. She had just closed her eyes when crack, snap, bonk! Two of the little bitty chairs' legs broke. Oh, feeling sleepy and bruised, Goldilocks wandered out of the sitting room. Upstairs, Goldilocks saw 3 doors. She opened the first one and found it was the bathroom. Opening the second door, she saw a pleasant bedroom with 2 beds. Goldilocks jumped on the bigger bed. Ouch, it was so hard. Oh dear, she thought, I'm never going to get a rest. The middle-sized bed looked much comfier. Goldilocks pressed the mattress. It felt really soft. Climbing into the middle-sized bed, she sank into the sheets and sank and sank and sank. The bed was too soft. Spluttering as she climbed out, Goldilocks scratched her head. Remembering the third door, she hurried out. Pushing open the third door, Goldilocks found herself in a cozy little bedroom. In one corner stood a little bitsy bed. She jumped on the little bed and shot up in the air. The mattress was so springy. The little bed was just right. Happily, Goldilocks snuggled into the blankets and fell asleep. While Goldilocks slept, the 3 bears arrived. It was cold and dark, so they were happy to be home. Don't know why we visit Great Aunt May, grumbled Father Bear. She can't hear a word we say, and she just sits there knitting. Never mind, soothed Mother Bear. Come and have your porridge. Mother Bear sat Father Bear down at the table. He stared at his bowl. He knew something was wrong. Someone's been eating my porridge, he roared. Mother Bear looked into his bowl. Then she looked into her bowl. Someone's been eating my porridge too, she gasped. Then Baby Bear looked into his itsy-bitsy bowl. Someone's been eating my porridge too, he wailed. And they've eaten it all up, and Baby Bear began to cry. Father Bear got up and peered into the little bowl. Better have a sit down and think about this, he growled. In the sitting room, Father Bear stood glaring in his big chair. Someone's been sitting in my chair, he roared. Mother Bear hurried to her middle-sized chair. Someone's been sitting in my chair too, she said in wonder. Father Bear and Mother Bear stood scratching their heads. Then there came a long wail from Baby Bear. Someone's in my chair and has broken it. Mother Bear and Father Bear glared at the broken chair. I don't know what to make of it, grumbled Father Bear, but let's go to bed and think it over tomorrow. Father Bear pulled out his pajamas from under his pillow. Someone's been sleeping in my bed, he bellowed. Mother Bear stopped looking for her curlers and went to the middle-sized bed. And someone's been sleeping in my bed too, she said. And then there was a squeal from Baby Bear's room. Baby Bear was standing by the door pointing with his shaky paw. Someone's been sleeping in my bed too, he screeched. And look, there, she's still there. Who is she? Whispered Mother Bear. Whoever she is, she should be in her own bed, growled Father Bear. Now the 3 bears knew what had happened to their porridge and who had sat in their chairs. They were very angry. They stretched out their claws and looked fierce. Then taking a deep breath, they went, grrr. Sitting up with a jolt, Goldilocks was so scared that her hair stood up on end. She leapt out of the little bitsy bed, dived between Father Bear's legs, and bounded out of the house. From that day to this, Goldilocks has never tasted anybody's food, or sat in anybody's chair, or slept in anybody's bed, or barged into anybody's house without asking first. The end. Well, I hope you enjoyed the Tony Ross version of Goldilocks and the 3 Bears. I certainly did. So let's think about this. So Goldilocks just barges right into the 3 Bears' house. Now, what do we do in our houses to make sure that doesn't happen to us? What do you have in your house that helps you keep your possessions and your family safe? Yeah, that's what I thought. You have a door, and the door is closed by having what? A lock or a latch or some sort of way to secure it closed so that other people can't just barge in and eat your porridge. So today, that's what we're going to think about. What sort of latch could we design for the 3 bears that would help them secure their home? To do so, we're going to use a variety of objects that you might have available in your house. If you don't have these specific objects, that's fine. You can think about other things around your house that you might use. Before we get started, what we're going to actually building, what we're going to do is something called the engineering design process. So the engineering design process is like this. First, we brainstorm. So we think about our situation. This is a thinking stage. There's no making. There might be some drawing or writing. Then, when we're done brainstorming, we're going to start and test and construct a prototype. And the prototype is going to be a preliminary design that we will then test. And when we test it to see if it works, we might find that it doesn't work as well as we thought. And we need to correct some of the flaws that might be present in the design. So at that point, we go back to the brainstorming process and we think about solutions for the flaws that our prototype has. And we go through this circular process over and over until we're satisfied, and then we move on to construct our final product. So it's a quick engineering design process. And then I just also wanted to share anything that we build today. Go ahead and take a picture of what you build. And if you want to tag us online, we will be able to see what you made and so will everyone else, by looking for this hashtag. It's hashtag SMCL_creates. So everything that you make today, please take a picture. I would love to see it. And let's get started with our brainstorm process. So if we're making a latch, first it might be helpful to look at some other types of latches. So I'm going to share my screen again so that we can get a good look at some other types of latches, okay? All right, so here you can see is a document with lots of different types of latches. And we're gonna go through and just talk about them and how you might wanna incorporate some of the aspects of them into your design. So here, this first one we have is sometimes called a bolt. You can see it has a cylindrical centerpiece that moves back and forth using this, and it is inserted into a long hollow cylinder, and it's going to move back and forth in and out of this other shorter hollow cylinder. You can see also that this latch has places and a whole piece, a back piece. So there's the latch part, and then there's a back piece. So we might want to think about that when we're designing our latch, that we might need a backing and then the actual functional part of our latch. Below the bolt is a hook. So here's the hook part. And as you can see, it sort of moves back and forth through this hole. It also has a backing piece, right? And it's going to move up and down into another hole here. So let's think about that. That's a hook and eye. This type of latch has basically a straight piece and then a straight catch here. This is going to be a pivot point. So similar to our hook and eye, it's going to move back and forth, up and down like that. Also with this backing piece. This is a spring latch, which I thought I would include because it's so different from the other latches. So this spring piece here causes some resistance when you pull up and down this latch piece. So this is going to go into another hole, sort of like our bolt. And then the spring is going to cause a little bit of resistance, and it's what's going to keep that latch closed. Okay? And that is it. So we've got our spring latch. We've got a straight pivoting latch, a hook and eye, and then a bolt. So those are some types of latches that you might want to think about when you are designing your very own latch. So let's go to a program where I can start drawing a prototype. So what sort of prototype do we want to have here today? First, let's draw our door. So I'm going to use a pencil because pencil is good when you are doing anything that you don't want to be final. So I'm just going to draw a door here. Here's our door. Maybe these are the three bears' doors. And they meet in the center here. Here's our doorknobs, right? Maybe there's a little window on our doors. So what sort of latch do we want to make today? Well, we saw in our research about latches that I'm actually gonna erase these handles so that I can draw our latch, but that all of the latches we saw definitely had a backing piece. So we're going to need some sort of a backing piece here and here. And then let's see what sort of materials we have available. So what I have available here on my table, which I will show you in a little bit, is I have some string, I have tape, I have paper, I have scissors, I have glue, I have twist ties, I have ribbon, I have, I already said tape, right? Yes, I did say that. I have, oh, what is that called? I have a clothespin. And other things you might have around the house. So that's what I've got to build my latch. Things that you might want to think about having are, or if you have, are some paper clips, which I could not find, or maybe some pipe cleaners. So, what sort of material do I want to use for this back piece? I think some things that I could use are paper, right? That might be a good backing piece. I could use tape for a back piece. I might want to use paper clips, right? So I could tape down or glue down a paper clip like that for my back piece. That might be good to wrap something around, right? Like a piece of string wrapping around that paper clip might be a good latch, or might make a secure latch. I don't have any paper clips, so I'm going to erase that. But let's say what I'm going to try for my first prototype is I'm going to try a piece of paper here. So I'm going to use a square piece of paper, which I will cut with my scissors. And then I'm going to use my tape to tape it down. So you can, this is my tape. And same thing on the other side. And what that will do, I'm only going to tape it at the top and the bottom, which will make a unsecured area beneath that paper, so that if I want to, I could wrap something around and through that hole there. So I may or may not want to do that, in which case what you could do is you could tape or glue down the entire square of paper if you didn't want to have a free space underneath, right? But I think that might come in handy. So I think I'll try that with the paper for my first prototype. And then the other thing I'd like to use for my first prototype is I think I'm going to use these twist ties. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the twist tie and I'm going to secure it around here so that it has its ends loose. And I'll do the same thing on the other side. So it's going to go under the paper, over the paper, and then I'm going to twist it so that I have two loose ends. And then that way, I can actually take the twist ties here and here and then twist them together instead. So we have the ends free, and then I can twist them together and secure the doors. So the other thing I noticed about all the latches that we looked at in our brainstorm, right, is that they have to close and open again, right? So you wouldn't want to hypothetically, the twist ties have to be able to twist together and then, right, twist apart again so that this door can then open, and these can open, and then twist them together one more time to be secure. You wouldn't want to use something that would be permanent across the door. So for example, or that would be ruined by opening it. So for example, what you wouldn't want to do here is something like, let's say I decide to use my tape, right here. Actually, I'll sort of, let me just delete this whole thing. So something that I would not want to do is, let's say I just want to use tape, only tape, right? So I'm going to use tape to just tape the door shut. Let's put another piece of tape here, right? So now my door is definitely secured. Goldilocks can't get in here, but can the door, hold on, I'm just gonna use a different color. Can the door open and close? No, it can't, not without breaking this tape, right? So as soon as you open it, what's gonna happen is this tape is going to rip. It's just gonna rip in half. And then you won't be able to use it again and again and again. So that's something to remember also about our latch, is that what we design, we want to be able to use repeatedly. It can't be something that is going to be ruined by opening and closing the door, okay? So I hope that you have just as much fun brainstorming as I did right now. You might want to pause this recording so that you can get your paper and pencil and do your own little brainstorm right now. Okay, so let's go back and I'll show you. Okay, great. So I hope you enjoyed brainstorming. If you want to pause the video so you can do your own brainstorming now, please go ahead and do that. Otherwise, I'm going to show you how to construct the latch. Okay, so we'll do that real quick. For my latch, so first we're going to have to build our door. For the door, what we're going to use is any type of sort of heavy paper. So I have this drawing paper. This is the heaviest paper I was able to find around my house, but you could use construction paper, you could use regular paper too, printer paper, anything like that. Okay, so I'm going to take my, my heavy paper here, and we're going to fold it to make our door. So I have my brainstorm prototype ready, my drawing, so that I can just build right away. So here is my thick paper that I'm going to use to make a door. In origami, there's two types of folds that we call hot dog is one fold where you do a long ways fold like that, that's hot dog. And then there's hamburger fold, which you do a short ways fold. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to do a hamburger fold to our paper in half. And we're going to crease it. Now we have our middle line, our center line of our paper marked with our fold. Then I'm going to take the two outside edges and hamburger fold them to touch that center fold. 1 and 2. Okay, so now I have a little door here to make my prototype based on my brainstorm idea. So real quick, my things that I have here that I'm going to use that I used in my drawing are, I have my tape, I have my twist ties, I have my paper, right? My paper that I'm going to use to secure the back of my latch. I have my scissors for cutting. Other things you might want to use around the house, rubber bands, I have, you know, clothespin, glue, other types of tape. I also have some string, some ribbon. So these are all things we can use to build our latch. And real quick, I'm just going to build my prototype just like I did in my drawing. So we can use some tape here to secure our pieces of paper. And then we're going to use our twisty ties, right, to put through our backing strips. And that's it. So that's my prototype. Let's see how well it works, huh? So I've got my tape, my paper, and my twist ties. I'm going to twist tie my door together. And is my door secured? Yes, it is. But is it secured if Goldilocks is really strong? Let's see. Ooh, it is. It's stronger than I thought. But let's say hypothetically that this prototype wasn't as secure as I wanted it to be, and I pulled on it and it just opened right up, right? So I might want to then, like we do in our engineering design process, right? I might want to go back and brainstorm a little bit more about what might be a more secure type of watch. Okay? So that's just a real quick idea about something you want to make. I would encourage you to go ahead and keep working on your latch after this video is over. And I was really happy to lead this activity for you, and I hope to see you again next time. We have lots of STEAM programs this summer on smcl.org, and I really hope that you'll join us. We have little kids programs at 11, bigger kids programs at 1 throughout the whole summer. So thank you for joining me, and I will see you next time.